Hi, my name's Dax Murphy, and today I want to talk to you about leadership and an autonomous environment, and why most leaders don't even know what an autonomous environment is. So if you've read any leadership books or management books or anything on YouTube or what have you, you'll probably see that when we talk about leadership, most people will talk about trust, they'll talk about delegation, and then even some enlightened souls will talk about creating an autonomous environment. So we know that trust and value and delegation is important within leadership, yet in real life, does that work? I mean, most people say that an autonomous environment is dangerous, that you just create chaos. In fact, actually, I was with a very senior leader just the other day, an MD of a FTSE 100 company, who said that autonomy is a dangerous thing to do because you wouldn't create any achievement. It would just create chaos and also lethargy. That's crazy. And the reason why that's crazy is because an autonomous environment is the number one way to motivate people. I suppose the challenge would be is, what is autonomy? And what I'd like to do today is share with you what an autonomous environment is, so hopefully then you can apply it to your leadership and get some world-class results from your teams. You see, an autonomous environment was first discovered, well, from my point of view anyway, with Edward L. Decker in his book, Why We Do What We Do. And in this book, he did loads and lots of scientific experiments with students and with other people in regards to testing motivation levels. And what he found was that when you create an autonomous environment, people will display the behaviours you desire more often for a longer set of time than any other motivational system. So if you pay people to do a job, they will do it, but they will stop doing it once that job, the time is up. Now, in an autonomous environment, people will go over and above. They'll demonstrate those behaviours even when the time is up. They'll demonstrate those behaviours even when it's not being measured. And that is quite a magical thing. And that is something that really got me excited about how we create this autonomous environment. And then building on that work was a gentleman called Dan Pink, who created a book called Drive. Now in this book, what Dan Pink goes on to demonstrate is that actually creating an autonomous environment in a leadership situation absolutely 100% of the time delivers better results every time. Guaranteed, than any other motivational system. So when we've got all this information in regards to how we get motivated as human beings, and then how you can create that system as a leader, why do we have this mix-up of autonomy? And I think the reason why is probably to do with the word. I think the word autonomy creates an element of misunderstanding in itself. You see, I think if you think about the different types of management, then micromanagement will be the opposite end of autonomy. So micromanagement will be high control, high direction, and very highly measured in regards to those behaviours. Now, when you go into autonomy, I think people think it's like one or two things. So either a chaos factor, i.e. you just let people do whatever they want with no rules, with no boundaries, just do whatever you want, which would create chaos, it absolutely would do. Or create an environment where people will just slack off and not do anything. And that type of environment is again where you can do what you want but without any clear goal. And I suppose this is where the difference about autonomy comes in. You see, creating an autonomous environment doesn't mean people just get to do what they want. It's about the perception of choice. So in a leadership framework, this means as a leader you've got to clearly identify the goal and the vision. This is where we are going. And allow your team to clearly understand that. Then you've also got to communicate the boundaries within which they can work. So what are good behaviours and what are bad behaviours? What are the behaviours that are unacceptable? Where can you not go? And clearly identify those boundaries. Then, how your team get to the vision within the boundaries is where you allow the autonomy. That ability for your followers to be able to choose how they get there is the magic. Getting there isn't in doubt. That's where the leader sets the tone. How they get there is up to the follower. And that is where the magic happens. That is where motivation happens. That is where you can generate results beyond anything you could ever imagine. If you can allow your team that trust and that delegation to deliver on that objective in their own way. So in a final note, creating an autonomous environment isn't about just letting people get along with whatever they want to do with no rules, no regulations. That is chaos. That does create lethargy. But also you shouldn't go the other way. You shouldn't direct people too much, you shouldn't control them too much, you shouldn't micromanage them too much, because the second that you do that, then as soon as you stop micromanaging them on something, that behaviour will disappear. They will stop doing those things the second you stop measuring it. Whereas if you want your followers to do the right thing just because it's the right thing to do, and do that because they believe in it and achieve things that are more than what you could ever do with any other management style, then create the autonomous environment. Set the goal, create the boundaries, and allow the freedom of choice of how that is delivered.